freehold electric guitar. It's a very organic and a really live-sounding type of record. Like it sounds really spontaneous. Like it, I don't know how did you track it, but yeah, it really sounds like maybe you were like guys playing at the same time in the same room.
Yeah,
and,
well, that's because what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think these days so many records. Well, it's because of technology. It's very easy to overdub things.
Yeah.
And to create these layers and make very dense production. And like in the '80s, it was really expensive to do that.
Yeah.
Because you'd actually have to rent out the studio with the 2-inch machines but now you can do that in your bedroom, so it's sort of different. But I think I grew up with that kind of sound. I mean, the band, the cool guitar players from the '70s were usually, it was more of a raw kind of recording.
Yeah.
The first Van Halen album was all live. They just did overdubbed the vocals, and that's one of my favorite records and my favorite styles of guitar playing. And of course, Jimi Hendrix, very live. So it's just that's sort of, and really even going back before that, doing blues and jazz, which is kind of what I've been more and more into. Those recordings, not even guitar recordings, but like horn players and of course blues guitar players. But the further you go back in recording history,
jazz, like people were meeting, like record, and that was a session, and that was a record.
But if anything, it's also just easier because you know if you got it right immediately. Where if you are overdubbing, then you don't know if it's good or it's not until the end. Because it takes such a long time to finish it. Or if it's live, just like, well, did it sound good? If the answer is yes, then you keep it. If the answer is no, then okay, go back and play it again, and until you get it right.
And you write like all the material beforehand, like, or was there some stuff like they were like improvised in the studio? Or?
Well, a lot of the songs are built where there's a part that we have got planned out, and a set melody, and then there's a part where we get the jam in the middle.
Yeah.
And so it's a combination of both things, which I like. If it's all planned out, they can get a little stiff, and if it's all jammed, then it sort of loses its focus. So it's nice to have that balance of both.
Okay. And one of the this time there's no singing. I mean, there's some narrative words in Herds of Torture, I think, but there's no singing. And you've been singing a lot, like recently on your solo records. And is it like freeing, like to be sticking to guitar mainly for a record? Because I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure a guy like you, guitar is really natural, And maybe you will have to think more about singing, writing lyrics, obviously. I'm pretty sure it's more demanding for you than playing crazy stuff on the guitar, Maybe.
Well, I think the biggest challenge is that physically, everybody who sings has their own voice. Of course, you can take vocal lessons or try to train, but essentially, you sound like how you're going to sound. No matter how many vocal lessons I take, I'm never going to sound like Ronnie James Dio or Paul McCartney or my vocal hero. And one of the most frustrating things is, with the vocal, you're trying to perform a melody. So you have to hit these notes, and a lot of the notes in the melodies that I like are out of my range. So I can't do the basic job, which is to hit the notes. And but with guitar, if I play the melody on guitar, all those notes are there, and then
reach all of them.
And then I can. Now the challenge as a guitar player is that playing a melody the way a vocalist sings is very different than like playing through a scale, because there's a lot more elements of expression. You slide into things, and the dynamics you have to really be careful with. But the thing that I love about it, like if I try to sing something. If I sing, with my voice, if I sing it maybe 5 times, then I've probably worn out my voice and I can't sing anymore. With guitar, I can work on it all day, and every time I do it, it gets a little better, and it feels so good to get more and more, because basically what you're going for is emotion, and each time you do it, you get a little more emotion out of the melody, and by the time you've done it 20 times. This is not so much in the studio. Hopefully, I've practiced it before that. But when I'm rehearsing it before, it feels great because suddenly you're getting this emotion that a singer would get, and it's very different than when I'd go through a scale. I mean, I like that too, but it's for a long time I didn't really want to play melodies because I thought that was the job of the vocalist. It's really a simple idea, but it took me so long to accept that idea.
What I think Paul Gilbert, the word which came to me would be like enthusiasm. Like when you play, you really like give the impression like you're really like having the most fun. Bending a note like seems to be like the best thing in the world.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's a good compliment.
So is it really like how you feel like to do like a crazy band, like muting the note, like hitting every note, but just one note's ringing, like and bending, like you're like that's cool. Yeah.
Well, when I was a kid, growing up in the '70s, that was like the. Maybe if you're a supermodel, you're proud of your face and your body. Yeah. If you're a '70s rock guitar player, you're proud of your vibrato. That's like what made everybody cool. And so when you listen to the guys in the '70s like Brian May and Mick Ronson and Robin Trower and Eddie Van Halen, I mean, people pay attention to the tapping, but man, his vibrato was so good. And even Yngwie. Incredible vibrato, and Ritchie Blackmore, and just all the Jimi Hendrix, of course. So and even like the guys that were more basic guitar players, like Ace Frehley from Kiss, his vibrato was incredible, really good. And I think like from like the when heavy metal started to become like more like it doesn't. Where the heaviness is what matters, and there's like no bluesy element anymore. When the blues was cut off from metal, then nobody cared about vibrato anymore, and it's okay. I mean, music styles you're allowed to change and try different things, but just the stuff I love is from that era when there was still. Most of the guitar players had listened to B.B. King and Freddie King, and they were just trying to be like a singer.
Yeah. And have soul in the notes and stuff like that, And like I said, like on this record, really like every note like seems to have a lot of attention, detail, like soul. And
I'm trying to convince because I know there are heavy metal kids in the audience.
Oh yeah, sure.
And so I'm trying to sell them like, look, you should check this out. This is cool, And really, that was one of the coolest things when I was a student at GIT was I was exposed to older players who did styles that I would not have discovered otherwise. Like, there were a lot of jazz players, and I wasn't into jazz, but, they were great, and I would be in their class and be going like, man, this guy's fantastic. I love what he does. And I still wanted to do my own thing, but I might go, there's something to that. I'm going to learn a couple of his chords or a couple of his and it kind of rubbed off. So, you don't have to. Anything that I tell people to do in the clinic, it's not like people have to do like, okay, follow Paul, everything he says exactly.
Just a couple of things.
But just take something you like and bring that with you.
It seems like recently I saw you a lot with a mini-humbucker equipped guitar, like even though you get a fireman with mini-humbucker stuff. You seem to grow some love from these kind of pickups.
They sound really good.
Which are kind of not like overlooked or anything, but not used much. People will rely on single coil or P90s or humbucker. Mini-humbucker not so much, these days. But so what do you love about this mini? Is it DiMarzio?
Well, the DiMarzio ones. Well, they're it's actually like a signature pickup for me called a PG-13, and they I used to use the Epiphone mini humbuckers way back when because I would buy these old Epiphones and fix them up, and those were kind of. The neck one was okay, but the bridge one was kind of harsh and kind of low output. But these are like really warm, even though they're mini humbuckers. They got a nice warm sound, and they're the bridge one just sounds great. The guitar I brought out here doesn't have them because I wanted to bring a guitar with a sustainer system. I'm playing this one Scorpion song where the vocals like And just for that, I had to bring the sustainer.
Okay.
Because I want that note to sing. And the sustainer guitar I have has the regular DiMarzio air zone in it, I think.
Okay.
But those minis, I use the for the album, for Behold Electric Guitar, the whole record is those mini humbuckers.
Okay, it sounds good. Like maybe it's I guess maybe a mini-humbucker must sit like between maybe a P90s and a real humbucker, maybe something like in the middle of that.
One of the biggest things is not only the kind of pickup, but the position. You know, obviously the bridge pickup and the neck pickup sound very different, even if they're the same model, because of where they are. And it's just something I've really paid attention to. Like on the Fireman, I got my pickups angled a little bit, so the higher strings are a little bit warmer.
Oh yeah.
And it makes
more bass.
Yeah, it makes a difference. It's
just like Hendrix, like when you reverse, like obviously playing lefty, like a right-hand guitar, like his triple pickup.
Yeah, the Strat.
Is not like.
And I remember I never played Strats when I was a kid. More recently, I was like, well, let's see what see what a Stratocaster is all about. I put it on the bridge pickup, and it was like, it's so trebly.
But if you put it in the other,
I couldn't believe it. So, and that was what Jimi Hendrix did, because he had an upside down one.
Yeah.
So his essentially was like an angled the other way because he had the strings reversed.
One thing I want to touch, like it's well documented to get tinnitus. Like,
I have lots of hearing loss and tinnitus.
And many musicians do, but don't talk about it. Generally, you used to play with headphones for a period of time, but you don't anymore.
Yeah, now I just use earplugs.
You just because headphones were like maybe not something good.
Well, the headphones I had them plugged in to like a monitor pack.
Oh yeah, so it was like an in-ear basically.
So and even though the idea is that the headphones block out the sound and I can have it quieter, it was rock and roll, so I would still kind of turn it up, and it just I wasn't really protecting my ears as much as I was. It looked like I was, but I don't think I really was.
Oh yeah.
And so I think the earplugs are better. Now the thing is with the earplugs is I don't hear the detail as much, but I've gotten used to that. I just basically if I've got loud guitar and loud snare drum, I'm good.